If you want to win an NBA championship, you need a solid point guard. It's that simple. Between Patrick Beverly and Reggie Jackson, you got two of the worst point guards you could ever have on an NBA roster. Patrick Beverly is not a point guard. He cannot dictate or orchestrate an offense. He is purely a defender. That's it. Defense. Reggie Jackson, he is also not a point guard. He's a bad shot taker and a bad shot maker. He spent 6 seasons with OKC backing Russell Westbrook up. 2 of those seasons out of those 6, he had a decent season, enough to get him on another team, on another roster. He thinks he's a starting point guard in this NBA. He's not. Reggie Jackson is basura, garbage. If you look at the past 10 seasons of champions in the NBA, each one of those teams had a reliable and decent or exceptional point guard. And that's the only way you're going to get to the next level and win a championship is with a solid point guard. Look at the facts. The Warriors, Seth Curry. Miami Heat, LeBron James. He's the point forward. He's running point over there. Cleveland Cavaliers, LeBron James. Dallas, when they beat the Mavericks, Jason Kidd. The Lakers, Derek Fisher. Even though he's no elite player in the NBA, Derek Fisher is a solid point guard in the NBA. The Spurs, Tony Parker. The list goes on. In these past 10 years, you cannot win a championship without a point guard. The Toronto Raptors, who just won last year, Kyle Lowry, all-star. If your point guard is not solid or elite, you're not winning. So when you look at the bum Reggie Jackson and Patrick Beverly, there's no way the Clippers was coming out and winning. Dallas was supposed to beat them. Had they not been battered and bruised and injured and had so many injuries on their roster, Dallas would have took them out already. It would have been happened. Going forward now, look at the teams that's left. The Miami Heat, Goran Dragic, solid, elite point guard. The Boston Celtics, Kemba Walker, solid point guard, all-star. Lakers, LeBron James, point forward. Rondo, hello. Now, look at the Denver Nuggets, Jamal Murray. It's simple. You need a point guard in order to elevate your team to the next level. So you could tell me all of this Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, garbage, but at the end of the day, with no point guard, you cannot do it. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, they're playmakers. They're not point guards. They can set other people up and they can set their shot up, but you cannot rely on a Paul George and a Kawhi Leonard to do that for you the whole game. That's not how it's going to work. They don't win like that. Look at Kawhi when he won with Toronto. Kyle Lowry was the dominant point guard, the dominant ball handler. That gives pressure off of Kawhi Leonard. Even Van Fleet came in and backed him up and put in work. That takes off the pressure for Kawhi Leonard. You don't want a Kawhi Leonard to have to go out there and look to set other people up and get himself going and play defense. Are you kidding me? You need Kawhi to go out there with his head straight and his head clear and like, look, Kawhi Leonard, I want you to play defense and get buckets. That's all I want you to do. Paul George, same thing. Play defense and get buckets. But when you rely on them to also run your offense and work through them and go on the other end and play defense, it's not going to happen. Now look at you, the head of the helms, Doc Rivers. So combine those three. You got Reggie Jackson, Pat Beverly, and Doc Rivers, who was sitting there with his arms folded looking at everybody confused because he didn't know what to say or what to do, because he sat there and he thought about it and realized, I don't have a point guard. I don't. I'm not going to bring in Shamet. You can't blame Shamet. The man has just came into the league and he's a shooter too. He's not your typical point guard. Lou Williams, 6th man of the year. As great as Lou Williams is and as great as a scorer he is, he's not a true point guard. He's a shooting guard in a point guard's body. So if you got inconsistent Reggie Jackson out there who is a terrible defender and decision maker, you are in a world full of trouble, my friend. A world full of trouble. There's a reason why all these teams that's advancing right now, and even the teams, whoever makes it into the finals, are going to have 2 elite point guards going at it. It's just that simple. No point guard, no solid team. Your point guard is your foundation. It's everything that you are built of. Your point guard is your floor general. Your point guard leads the way. He leads the charge. Don't look for Kawhi Leonard and Paul George to lead your way. They cannot do it. They got to be out there and they got to score points. They got to play defense. They cannot be decision makers and run the offense for the team. They were not put out there for that. Pat Bev is not a point guard. He's garbage on the offensive end. Pure trash. Reggie Jackson, so inconsistent, so worried about the wrong things. He's just a dum-dum. When he first came to Detroit, first thing he did was put on his shoes, starting point guard. You are foolish. Reggie Jackson, wake up and look in the mirror. You're not nice. You're not. You are lucky that you got on that Clippers team. And you should have used that Clippers team to elevate yourself, to show the world that maybe I can be a decent player in this league. I can be a point guard. But what you are is a team hopper. You're going to hop from team to team forever in this league. You're going to get paid, don't get me wrong, because you can score the ball. We know that. That's on record. But you will hop from team to team because nobody really wants you. You're serviceable. They use you. So when they get the next guy that can really do something, a real point guard, bye-bye, Reggie Jackson. See ya. You're a bench player. Pat Bev, he's another one who should have never been started in the NBA. As good as a defender he is, he's out there pointlessly. He's irrelevant on the court. Irrelevant. Because he's not even always playing good defense all the time anyway. So all you got out there is a guy that's not efficient enough to shoot shots. Yes, he makes threes here and there. He's not a scorer. And if he's hacking and fouling, then what purpose does Patrick Beverly serve? So the Clippers had no point guard.